Welcome and happy Thursday. My name is Sarah Friedman, and I'm an advisor for community benefits for the Office of the Undersecretary for Infrastructure here at the Department of Energy. We are just incredibly excited to have you all here today as we discuss a new tool that we hope will help more folks on the ground learn about Department of Energy projects and the benefits we hope to see across the United States through funding from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act, or as we call them, BIL and IRA. A quick note as we get started, we did indeed hit our registration cap for this webinar, which is amazing. It is great to see so much interest about this tool. If you have a friend or if you know someone who really wanted to join that missed the initial window, rest assured, we are going to have a recording available following the program, likely tomorrow. A quick note that this is a Teams call, which is being recorded, and it may be posted on DOE's website or used internally. If you don't wish to have your voice recorded, please do not speak during the call. If you don't wish to have your image recorded, please be sure to turn off your camera or participate by phone. If you speak during the call or use a video connection, you are presumed to consent to recording and the use of your voice or image. All right. So now we're going to get going. So today, in addition to myself, we are also going to hear from our Office of Community Engagement, who will provide additional details on how you can engage and how you can find out more about the program's features today or about the new map generally. We're also really excited to welcome a few more guests who are working from various perspectives to bring the benefits of clean energy to communities across the country. Today, we'll hear from Patrick Beaudry with Sublime Systems, Jeff Leichman with the Bridgeport Regional Energy Partnership, Sam Smith with the AFL-CIO, Katie Harris with BlueGreen Alliance, Miranda Nelson with Jobs to Move America, and Sonia Kakari with the Emerald Cities Collaborative. I want to thank them all for joining us today and you for coming as well. And with that, let's get started. Great. So this is just a little refresher on BIL and IRA. So I assume most of the people on the call are familiar, but just to get started. So Department of Energy's Office of Infrastructure was established in 2022 to put clean energy infrastructure investments from BIL and IRA to work across the country. We have a goal of carbon-free electricity in the US by 2035 and a net zero economy by 2050. So that's a lot of work. Over the next 10 years, here at the department and through these investments is going to be critical to ensure that our nation stays at the forefront of the clean energy transition and that we're supporting those communities historically left behind or which could be. To ensure this support happens, Department of Energy requires community benefit plans, which we'll talk about today, as part of nearly all BIL and IRA funding opportunity announcements and loan applications. All right, so we've made a lot of progress in the last 2.5 years. We've launched 100% of BIL and IRA programs, and we're deploying billions of funding through selections and awards. But where? Today, I'm excited to share a new tool to help understand how and where these investments are being deployed, and that is this map. So what is the map? So this map is essentially a tool communities can use to understand what DOE infrastructure projects are being developed in their area, and is really our first step in increasing transparency. Recognizing awareness is just one step. We really do hope that through this map, local stakeholders can engage more effectively with these projects, hoping that they can shape the benefits that are aligned to their needs and build communication and trust, ultimately all key to long-term project support and success. So a few notes on what this map is and what it isn't. So the MAP projects are just a subset of the publicly announced BIL and IRA selected and award projects, and that's of July 24 when we created the map. We will be updating this map weekly and are sort of in a continuous zone of update. Again, the map does not show all of DOE's investments. These are just the investments that we refer to as demonstration and deployment projects, or which will inform future D&D projects. So these are really projects that have steel in the ground and that have a specific location of work that is publicly available at the city, county, or tribal level. So it's something we can map. For the moment, some of these bigger regional efforts that DOE is engaged with, particularly the hydrogen hubs, are not yet on there, but we're working in real time to try to figure out how to map and capture those. Okay, so the pins on the map represent the centroid of the city or county in which the project is located. So that's not the street address, and it's not super exact. For the moment, we also do not have a Justice 40 CGES layer. That's because the locations are not exact, but we're actively looking into how to address this and incorporate those and encourage folks to also use that layer themselves. In terms of content, at this point, the map is based on public fact sheets prepared by the developer and the program who's issuing at the time of the selection or of the award of project. In some cases, there are benefits that were included in the community benefit plan that may not be in the public fact sheet for one reason or another. We are actively working to update this with more project information as it becomes available. But for the moment, we really wanted to just make sure this got in the hands of the community to build awareness and start conversation. All right, so a little background, because we use a lot of terms and we use them quickly. So the Community Benefits Plan is a Department of Energy specific term of art. It's an application document that we require for nearly all our BIL and IRA funding opportunity announcements and loan applications. They're generally scored at about 20% of the project score, so that's big. After the project is selected, Department of Energy and the company or organization, at this point known as the selectee, negotiate these community benefits as part of the federal grant, and the community benefit terms are included in some way in the final grant package. Compliance with the community benefit terms are tracked through a document generally known as the Community Benefit Outcome and Objectives for most of our programs. So the CBP has 4 sections: investing in quality jobs, community and labor engagement, DEIA, and Justice 40. We provide a CBP template with examples of different ways the applicants can meet these priorities and objectives, including through agreements and partnerships between the applicant and communities, tribes, and labor organizations. So why are we doing this? So CBPs are really kind of DOE's vehicle to deliver on our values and commitments to support local and disadvantaged communities, tribes, and workers. However, these also increase project viability of our investments, as these are often the same values and factors that private financing parties are looking at, and they're good project development practices. For example, community benefit agreements help secure local support for what might be really complicated permitting processes, and project labor agreements secure a stable workforce. The specific community benefit indicators on this map are a subset of the benefits and just a few examples in the CBP that we thought might be pretty important to flag up for early engagement. So the first are those community and workforce agreements, project labor agreements, collective bargaining agreements, community workforce agreements, and community benefit agreements. The second is community advisory councils or other mechanisms. And then the third is other workforce benefits, and that's training, pre-apprenticeship programs, apprenticeships, local and targeted recruiting and hiring, public commitments to neutrality, and supports like transportation and childcare, which make these careers accessible. So these categories were really chosen with the lens of what was important to understand early. For example, if you know a community benefit agreement is underway or a community advisory council is being stood up, you might want to engage with the developer early in the process to get input for how to make successful and to have a seat at the table for you and your community. All right, so I think now we're going to actually get to the map. All right, so we're going to zoom in on one particular project so you can kind of see how this works in practice. All right, so a bit about this project. This is Sacramento Municipal Utility District, or SMUD, and they were selected as a recipient under DOE's Grid Resilience and Innovation Partnership Program, or GRIP, which is administered by DOE's Grid Deployment Office, which aims to increase grid flexibility and make power systems more resilient. So SMUD's Connected Clean Power Project modernizes their outage management system, and they'll also partner with the Wilton Rancheria to demonstrate how advanced smart grid system components can integrate with site-specific distributed energy resources. So as you'll see here, the project has a number of benefits that we were able to call out. So we list what the federal cost share was. That's how much money we're going to pay. The project type, it's a deployment project. Named partners. So again, they mentioned the Wilton Rancheria tribe, and workforce benefits. So here they had training, apprentices, target recruitment, local recruitment. And then we get to the fact sheet. Awesome. So that's just a bit on the map, and we're able to encourage folks to play around with it. And again, reach out if you have any comments. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, one of the goals with the map is to increase and strengthen the way we engage with communities and key stakeholders. And to talk more about that, I'm going to hand it over to my good friend, Director of the Office of Community Engagement, Rose Davey.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was amazing. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rose Dottie, the Director of the Office of Community Engagement here at the Department of Energy. I am thrilled to be here to discuss the vital role that our office plays in bridging the gap between the Department of Energy and communities across the nation. The Office of Community Engagement, or OCE as it is called, was established as a front door to communities that have historically lacked a strong relationship with the agency. Our mission is simple yet profound to ensure that all communities and stakeholders, especially those historically marginalized, have direct access to DOE programs and opportunities. One of the core principles we've embraced at OCE is transparency. Communities must be made aware of the projects that are happening in their neighborhoods at an early stage. We've heard from many across the country that meaningful engagement between communities and project awardees is crucial. We are committed to facilitating these connections and ensuring communities are not just informed, but are active participants in the decision making process. In today's world, there tends to be a lack of information around clean energy and the recent climate investment laws. Our role here at DOE is to provide you with accurate information. By doing so, we help communities understand the benefits and impacts of new energy projects, allowing them to make informed decisions for where they live. That's why we are so excited about this mapping tool. OCE serves as a central point of contact, offering a reliable resource to answer questions and navigate federal resources. We've received positive feedback from communities who appreciate knowing they have someone to turn to, ensuring that they are not left in the dark when it comes to accessing DOE opportunities. We have engagement specialists located in regions across the country that work directly with communities to connect them throughout DOE and our labs. You can reach us by email at getengaged@hq.doe.gov or by phone at 202-586-0822. We also have virtual office hours every other Wednesday where we update stakeholders with the latest and greatest information from DOE. I will drop the registration for that and our contact information in the chat. In closing, I want to restate our commitment at the Office of Community Engagement to being a true partner to communities across the country. We are here to listen, to facilitate, and to empower. Our work is rooted in the belief that by building strong, transparent, and sustained relationships, we can help all communities achieve their clean energy goals. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to our continued collaboration.
Thank you, Rose. Now I'm excited to bring in the first of two speakers, Patrick with Sublime Systems, to share how Community Benefits Frameworks has helped them create a stronger project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Patrick Beaudry, and I am a Project Development and Community Relations Manager for Sublime Systems. And I'll start off by saying I was reviewing my notes for this presentation today and realized my use of the we is all over the place. And that's because while I've worked for Sublime for over a year on this project, the community in which we're building our first commercial plant is actually where my family has called home for 4 generations. So I'm kind of a dual citizen in my mindset in terms of what this project means. So thank you in advance for your forgiveness on my undisciplined usage of possessives this afternoon. Next slide, please. And so Sublime Systems is on a mission to make a swift and massive impact on global CO2 emissions by decarbonizing cement, which is the key ingredient in concrete. We're doing that with a true zero process that avoids emissions rather than relying on costly cleanup and capture plays, which will give us a pathway to cost parity with the incumbent ordinary Portland cement, the production of which is currently responsible for 8% of global CO2 emissions. Additionally, we're working hand in hand with the concrete industry in order to seamlessly integrate into their existing ways of doing business so we can scale at the rate with which our climate crisis requires. Next, please. Enabled by a nearly $87 million investment by the Department of Energy's Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, we'll soon be building our first commercial facility an hour and a half's drive west of our Greater Boston headquarters in the city of Holyoke, Massachusetts. Producing 30,000 tons of sublime cement per year, this plant will allow us to validate market demand and tech scalability while preparing for future deployment in the industry standard megaton plus annual volumes. Holyoke was at one point the paper producing capital of the world, and the site on which we're building this project was in fact previously home to 5 shuttered paper mills. As you can imagine, a local economy built upon paper production has seen better days. I'm told there's about 1,000 people watching this. I have to imagine there's a couple Office fans out there. But the Dunder Mifflin tongue-in-cheek business motto, limitless paper in a paperless world, just kind of hits differently here in Holyoke. But all kidding aside, the upward mobility that manufacturing sector once offered over a century's worth of immigrants has all but disappeared over the past several decades. That deindustrialization has most acutely impacted our region's more recent newcomers, such as Holyoke's Latino community, which includes the highest per capita population of residents of Puerto Rican descent on the United States mainland. Next slide, please. And so beyond the standard siting criteria of zoning, feedstock availability, energy, and market considerations, the Department of Energy's Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool helped guide Sublime deployment strategy to Holyoke over other potential locations. It's located right in the middle of a 43 contiguous disadvantaged community census tract region. And furthermore, the Justice 40 initiative has catalyzed early and often community engagement in order to ensure that our project is aligned with and in a position to support existing local priorities. We set out on a wide-ranging listening tour, which over time evolved into our Community Stewardship Committee. What we learned is that there's a major desire for economic revitalization in the downtown neighborhoods, as well as to improve the local educational ecosystem to ensure proper preparation of residents to capitalize on new job creation. Meeting quarterly, this constellation of leadership from government, community-based organizations, labor, workforce and economic development agencies, and the education sector have already provided feedback that Sublime has been able to meaningfully integrate into our project design and workforce training plans. And I'll give you 2 examples. By definition, a kiloton plant needs thousands of tons of feedstock in and thousands of tons of finished product out. The transportation logistics have major quality of life implications for local residents and businesses. And we've worked with the community to identify where to locate certain operations on site and which points of entry and exit will cause the least disruptions to the neighborhood. Likewise, community groups have flagged a concern about local residents spending their precious time and resources on training too narrowly scoped for Sublime's needs. And so we're working with local career centers and community colleges to make sure residents will not only have the training they'll need to work in low carbon cement production for us, but will furthermore be competitive in the region's job market across employers and industries. Rather than a bureaucratic hindrance, this level of two-way collaboration is already improving the viability of our first-of-a-kind project while ensuring the positive ripple effects of DOE's investments are felt well beyond the four walls of our plant. And so up on the screen, there's some highlights. Big picture, $150 million investment into a 16-acre site that has for decades been a source of neighborhood blight, where we'll be creating hundreds of construction jobs and 70 to 90 permanent operation jobs. And one item in particular I'm really excited about is Sublime's partnership with United Steelworkers, who represents nearly 6,000 cement production workers in North America. Beyond Sublime expressing support for our future workers' right to unionize at the site, we are also in discussion with USW's workforce development team to leverage their workplace health and safety training, as well as pre-apprentice programming for local residents. Next slide, please. And so I guess I'll end by noting that community benefit planning is an iterative process. Just like my science and engineering colleagues work through challenges via experimentation, so too will Sublime work with our stewardship committee to ensure we are always contributing in the most impactful means possible to the community. What's crystal clear is the trust-building DOE and Justice 40 initiative has inspired between Sublime and the community will prepare us to take on the inevitable bumps in the road that are certain to occur when your aims are swift and massive change to the status quo and a contribution to a renaissance of manufacturing pride in a community that still refers to itself as the Paper City. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Now I'm so excited to bring in Jeff Leichman, who we see with the Bridgeport Regional Energy Partnership. Another person doing just some incredible work using a Justice 40 lens in the state of Connecticut. Jeff, over to you.
Sarah, thanks so much, and thanks for showing that picture of my new granddaughter. I want to talk to you a little bit today about my community and the benefits of working from the ground up, not from the top down. I happened to grow up in Bridgeport 100 years ago, and have come back after a career in both public service and the private sector to help transform the city in many sustainable and clean energy ways. We are the largest city in Bridgeport. We also are a majority minority city. And if you could define the quintessential Justice 40 city, we are it. We're an energy community, an EJ community, and a disadvantaged community, and we have the highest energy burden in the state. Next slide. We created the Bridgeport Regional Energy Partnership in 2021, recognizing what the Biden administration was about to do. We work with companies, organized labor, and community leaders in the hopes of creating additional clean energy projects. We have in Connecticut and in Bridgeport the most clean energy projects of any community. As an example, we have over 1,700 low-income homes that have solar. And through the efforts of our Green Bank, we're going to go back and try to put some small batteries at each one of those installations to maximize the reduction of energy burden at each of those homes. We now have 85 members, and they're a cross-section of people throughout the community, from labor leaders to business leaders to city government to neighborhood organizations to nonprofit organizations. And our goal is to reduce the energy burden, minimize carbon emissions, and maximize renewable energy development, and lower the health risks, which are significant in our community. We're also a LEAP community. a local energy action program that DOE set up. We got technical assistance for more than a year. We had over 20 Zoom meetings with federal and state officials to educate our 85 members. And in addition to all of that technical assistance, we were able to through NREL and other vendors start to establish a model community benefits agreement, legally binding and transparent. We also are developing criteria and principles for developers who want to come in and develop projects. And before the end of the year, we will have a clean energy strategy and implementation plan in place. That's actually got noticed by our state government, and we are hopeful to be designated sometime in the near future as the Center for Energy Innovation in Connecticut. Next slide. So let's talk about our DOE supported project and the community benefits agreement that we're working on. I will say from the outset that we actually were engaged with Nanoramic Laboratories before they submitted their application to DOE. And we think that our early engagement made a difference in both their application and in the understanding they had of the Bridgeport community. So they are a battery components manufacturing project. They will make electrodes and supply those electrodes to a partner in New York, who will manufacture the full battery, and they will make those electrodes available to other full battery manufacturers around the country. DOE was gracious through their Advanced Energy Manufacturing and Recycling Grant Program to make $47.5 million available to Nanoramic Laboratories. And they have the task now of matching that grant with an additional $47.5 million in either state or private equity funds. And we'll talk a little bit about how we're helping them do that. Our goal is to prove that a project like this can create prosperity for everyone. And our focus in terms of employment are going to be the disadvantaged community citizens, veterans, second chance citizens, and people with disabilities who've been excluded from the clean energy marketplace for a variety of reasons. So we are very excited to deliver these Justice 40 principles as part of the agreements that we're making with Nanoramics as we speak. Can we go to the next slide? So we have a broad-based group of 15 community representatives working on this CBA. And some of the goals that we expect to deal with, not only just employment and living wage requirements of those jobs, and who we're targeting. And I need to say that we have one of the best workforce development boards in America, which happens to be located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So it helps us immensely as we look at the training opportunities and the identification of a variety of different constituencies to participate in this. But it's not only about the jobs and the living wages that will come from those, but it's also about the procurement, both during construction and during operations from small women-owned and minority businesses. That's very important in a community like Bridgeport, And we have, from day one, working with the senior management from the president and the CFO at Nanoramics, have told them that if they want to engage appropriately in Bridgeport, it's not about just jobs. It's about a number of businesses participating, becoming perhaps a part of their supply chain, the purchase of goods and services. We have set up for them their initial training program through our Workforce Development Board and through some other funding that we received. We have created in Connecticut a statewide clean energy training academy where we are engaging with community colleges, technical high schools, and universities to run training programs throughout the state in a whole host of clean energy job categories. So it could be solar installers, HVAC technicians, clean fuels, maintenance folks, eventually in the hydrogen sector, for the utilities in resilience. And we are seeking funding from a number of other sources to expand that, including our own state government. So the model we will complete by November. We're expecting to have the first legal document submitted to us in September. It won't be a long negotiation process because we have been engaged with Nanoramics from even before they got the award, and we have regular follow-up calls with them every month or so. So they know what to expect. We hope most of it will be in the first draft, but if it's not, we'll make sure it's in the second draft. We get legal assistance in this community benefits agreement from the Connecticut Green Bank, who've been our partner from day one. The Connecticut Green Bank has invested more money in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and we've generated over $325 million in private investment in clean energy projects as a result of that. Next slide. And my final slide. So what we get from this is a legally binding, transparent agreement with penalties on the benefits that will come to the city of Bridgeport, and they will be significant. I can assure you of that. In the meantime, what is Nanoramics getting? Because what's important is that these partnerships become win-win partnerships. And we have identified for them two funding sources that were not in their original projections of how they would raise the $47.5 million that they're required to raise. We have, through our Bridgeport Economic Development Corporation, one of our members of BREP, submitted an $18 million grant to the State Community Investment Fund. It's an $875 million fund, and a lot of the money is for environmental cleanup, but this will be the first manufacturing project that they will review. We have great feedback that we are probably going to get some some amount. It will likely be somewhere between $10 and $12 million. Could be higher. We'll have to see. And that decision will be made in the end of September. We have also introduced them to Grow America, who is a community development entity that has access to new market tax credits. And we believe we can put a proposal together and package 3 or 4 CDEs around the country to provide an additional $4.6 million to their operations budget. Not money that can be used to match the DOE funds, but money that is welcomed by them. We are also supporting their local planning and zoning requests for the facility improvements. We have, again, used our Bridgeport Economic Development Corporation to help them put that together when they are free to use some of the DOE funding, hopefully by November or December. We are helping them identify local contractors and vendors. We have introduced them to both the labor community on the construction side and recognizing that they are neutral in the organizing over the long term for unionizing the plant. We've introduced them to at least one union interested. There will be more. We will be able to assist them in identifying potential employees. And one of the important components, particularly in a clean tech environment like this, is to provide the wraparound services that are absolutely critical to the success of the employees. If we are targeting people who've been excluded from these types of clean tech job opportunities, then you've got to have those wraparound services like transportation, like daycare, like housing, like counseling, to make sure that people who are coming out of incarceration, people who have disabilities, people who are underemployed, have those wraparound services available to them. And then we have regularly advised Nanoramics on outreach and communications efforts, because having come from a multinational corporation in one of my job experiences, I recognize that corporations don't always know how to communicate in the best ways. So we have our only full-time employee at BREP is a community engagement officer. We hired that person early on. We've had over 100 community meetings and counting. And we think that when other developers and others are coming into town, they're coming to see us first, which is kind of surprising. They're not necessarily going to the city first because they've heard about what we're doing. So why is this important for you all? I think it's important because we're hoping to create a model that others can emulate. We're hoping to share our experiences to help make your jobs a little bit easier. We've had a great relationship with the folks that have served our technical needs at NREL and at DOE, and we think that what we're doing in a very poor community can help others. And I welcome any phone calls or emails to share what we're learning, how we're operating, and what we see, because from the beginning, we said we wanted to be a center for energy innovation, and we're on that path now, and we're glad to share those experiences with you.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Jeff. And I think you're going to get hit up. I'm already getting hit up by a lot of folks who want your contact information and to learn more. So watch out for that in the next few days and weeks. Awesome. That's such an inspiring story. Next up, we're super honored to have a representative of the AFL-CIO, Sam Smith. Welcome, Sam.
So, hey everybody, Sam Smith here, and I'm super honored to be saying a few words about what we're doing on community benefits. So, I work for the AFL-CIO. We're a union federation representing 12.5 million union members through our affiliated unions. And at the AFL, I'm the strategic advisor to President Schuler, and I'm responsible for our work on energy, climate, and environmental justice. We are very appreciative of this approach from DOE and this new tool that you're launching today. Let me just explain why. We have democratically elected state federations of labor in all 50 states plus Puerto Rico and labor councils in more than 400 cities and municipalities around the country. So at all levels, national, state, local, we're working with different kinds of community partners. And while you can always do more, we have infrastructure and local relationships that reach into every community in this country. This makes us, in some ways, uniquely positioned to advance this shared work. So let me just give a couple of quick examples. We're working closely with our state feds, our affiliated unions, and DOE on the community benefits plans for the US's 7 regional hydrogen hubs. So these hubs will create, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of jobs and secure countless others. So it's critically important that the community benefits plans for the hubs have strong labor standards. Thanks to this cooperation with DOE and thanks to the work by our state feds, the locals, the affiliated unions, and of course, community partners, we are pretty confident that we're going to get strong standards in all of these hubs. Another example is actually in the South and particularly the Southeast. So as we all know, there's billions of dollars of infrastructure and clean energy money flowing into southern states. And this is a once in a generation opportunity to grow union membership and make sure that these investments benefit communities across the region and ensure their prosperity. But there are no guarantees that this is going to happen, because what we know about some of the states in the Southeast is that they're low-wage states, they have anti-union policies, and they have historic racial segregation and discrimination. Community benefits for us are a tool that can help us to organize and to ensure community prosperity in the face of these investments in this very challenging environment. We want to ensure that new industries that are coming into the South are going to lift standards for everybody. So our Center for Transformational Organizing, together with community partners, is working to bring together workers, parents, care providers, racial and environmental justice organizers, and health advocates in the Southeast in order to get these strong agreements. And some of these emerging community labor coalitions in impacted communities in states like Georgia and Tennessee are going to play a critical role in making sure that these investments bring prosperity to all and secure enduring benefits for workers, families, and communities. So stay tuned. We're excited, and we're especially excited to have access to this tool. It's going to help us with organizing. Thank you.
Awesome. We're so excited too. Thank you, Sam. All right. Next up, we have Katie Harris with the BlueGreen Alliance. Katie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. As Sarah said, I'm Katie Harris, and I'm the Vice President of Federal Affairs at the BlueGreen Alliance, or BGA, where we unify labor unions and environmental organizations into a force to fight climate change, protect the health of people and the environment, stand against economic and racial inequality, and create and maintain good-paying union jobs in communities across the country. And that's why we are so excited to help introduce DOE's new community benefits map. As you heard earlier, CBPs are required for nearly all applications for the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act investments. But I also want to point out that CBPs are really the best framework that BGA has seen to incentivize companies to meaningfully engage with communities and to create good jobs and recruit and train a diverse local workforce. We think that there's so much potential in community benefit plans that we put together a guide last year that collects resources to help applicants develop those plans and are working on an updated version that we hope to release to our stakeholder workers and communities. So CBPs really encourage community and labor commitments in the evaluation and selection phase. But the next step, and part of why this map is so exciting, is ensuring that the commitments outlined in a CBP are one, baked into DOE's funding terms and conditions, and two, turned into legally binding agreements like collective bargaining agreements and community benefit agreements. And we've heard some great stories of that happening earlier in the webinar. So long-term accountability and transparency are really important to make sure that we're seeing projects deployed that meet the commitments made in community benefit plans and maximize long-term benefits for communities and workers. So the new map is an amazing tool for this. It lets us see the worker benefits associated with DOE funding projects, and it also offers workers and communities information needed to engage with those projects. So thank you again to DOE for pulling this map together, and thank you to all the other stakeholders on this call and throughout the country who are really working and doing the work on the ground to realize the benefits of these investments. We look forward to using the map to keep doing the work and ensuring that federal investments lead to good union jobs and broadly shared prosperity. Thanks so much.
Amazing. Thank you. All right. So the next partner we have in our fight is Miranda Nelson with Jobs to Move America. And Miranda, all of you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Great to be here. At Jobs to Move America, we work to build worker and community power in the green manufacturing economy. And we have negotiated multiple successful community benefits agreements in manufacturing, specifically in electric vehicle manufacturing. These agreements have led to significantly increased employment in these factories from marginalized communities, including formerly incarcerated workers, and also new training and apprenticeship opportunities for these workers to build transferable skills. They've also led to workers having a fair path to organizing a union, and from there to multiple strong collective bargaining agreements. We think that this is a great model, and we want to see many more of these around the country. So we're really excited by how much the DOE has done to encourage these. We've been really watching each round of DOE's community benefits plans and watching you iterate on them and have been making them more robust and effective with each round. And we're now excited about this map. As we've talked to groups around the country about our model, they all want to know how they can replicate it. And we've talked to them about DOE community benefits plans, and they want to know how would they find out which DOE projects are in their communities. So we think that this will make a really big difference in helping them be able to do that and figure out where to intervene. So that is really exciting. I want to preview that Jobs to Move America is launching a Community Benefits Agreements Resource Center, in which we hope to work with local community groups and also with companies in order to build on our model and to co-create community benefits agreements together. We're particularly interested in supporting DOE projects that are already thinking through their community benefits plans. We want to help think through these community benefits plans and also figure out how to move from them to community benefits agreements. So we're interested in working with all of you on this call. So hope that you can reach out. And yeah, again, thrilled about this map that can help us really see where the possibilities lie for this.
Thank you for your offer of collaboration and appreciate all your work. So our next guest represents an organization that is near and dear. I want to introduce Sonia Kakari with Emerald Cities Collaborative.
Hi, I'm Sonia Kakari. I'm the National Director for Civic Infrastructure at Emerald Cities, which is a national nonprofit organization founded in 2009 that advances racial, economic, and climate justice to build economies and societies that are just, sustainable, and democratic. Emerald City's programs and policies are grounded in community and worker power building, economic inclusion, and equitable implementation. As I like to say, we've been doing Justice 40 or Justice 100 work for over a decade before the executive order was established. To ensure the success of DOE's community benefit plans, objectives, and equitable outcomes, which include things like living wage union jobs, civic engagement, economic inclusion, and health and social justice outcomes, it's paramount that community and workers are meaningfully engaged in the planning and implementation of these historic federal investments, and that they can monitor and measure the outcomes. Tools like DOE's community benefits map are essential to be able to do this. To illustrate how this map, in tandem with Emerald City's tools, can work to strengthen Justice 40 outcomes, here are some highlights of a community benefit agreement that ECC helped develop with the City of Portland, Oregon, that exemplify major wins that align with community benefit plans, objectives, and outcomes that DOE is advancing. The Portland CBA framework successfully improved worker diversity, increased utilization of disadvantaged businesses, and ensured fair treatment of workers by having specific and measurable goals, such as apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship utilization, workforce diversity, utilization of disadvantaged businesses, and local hire goals. It also funded resources to support new worker outreach and training, compliance activities, and technical assistance for disadvantaged contractors. Perhaps most importantly, this CBA established infrastructure and funded a shared oversight, monitoring, and improvement board, the CBA Labor Management Community Committee, which was representative of all CBA stakeholders. In the case of Portland, this committee included entities such as the City of Portland, Columbia Pacific Building Trades Council, Local 296 Oregon Tradeswomen, Portland Youth Builders, minority disadvantaged business enterprises such as FM Birch and Associates, the International Union Operating Engineers Local 701, Pacific Northwest Regional Council of Carpenters, and the Urban League of Portland. As you can see, the success of workforce and economic inclusion outcomes was contingent on the joint planning and oversight that included and resourced community voices to be at the table. For more information on this community benefit agreement, as well as access to other tools like our infrastructure playbooks or the outline of the anatomy of a community workforce agreement, check out our website and specifically the Justice 40 Plus Community Benefits Playbook. Our work at Emerald Cities is intended to make sure that public investments deliver direct, clear, and measurable community and economic benefits. We see community benefits as holistic in nature, combining strategies for housing, environmental justice, infrastructure, jobs, and wealth disparities, along with other priority needs as defined by low-income communities, frontline communities, communities of color, and communities directly impacted by any proposed development or investment. DOE's community benefits plans are a major step in ensuring that public investments create community benefits. This map and increased transparency generally support the accessibility of opportunities, support stronger partnerships and collaborations that will lead to better projects, and ultimately support accountability efforts to help ensure benefits for all. Thanks for having me today.
Amazing. Thank you, Sonia. And thank you to all of our participants and speakers and viewers today. For all the work that you're doing in community benefits. In addition to those who spoke, I want to acknowledge our co-host Workshop, who's been providing really critical technical assistance on community benefits to DOE projects across the country. Okay, so we're really excited to have this tool enter the public space. Do not forget to visit the site at www.energy.gov infrastructure CB map. And yeah, thanks all. We look forward to a barrage of questions, comments, opportunities, questions for how to engage more or learn more, and really appreciate your time and attention today.